Hey guys, it's Danny. Alrighty, today we have a spotlight video on a very beautiful orchid. This is one that I purchased 2 weeks ago. It came with buds and the buds have opened. So what we have here is a Cattleya type of orchid, but it is a primary hybrid between a Brassavola nodosa and a Cattleya aclandiae, which just happen to be two of my very favorite species of orchids. I do need to purchase the pure aclandiae as well. So here is the Brassocattleya Hippodamia. Now, regarding the name, I'm not a fan of it. Out of the most beautiful names you can give to an orchid, like princess, fairy, and all of that cutesy stuff, Hippodamia. And mind you, this is not a big orchid, and it doesn't look like a hippo either. Now, considering that the name might derive from Latin, it might refer to something decreased, maybe tiny, but no, that would be micro. I'm not a fan of the name. Disregarding that, my Hippodamia is a really pretty, compact and tiny orchid, as you can see, with quite the large flowers. And to give you a better perspective, they're not quite as big as my palm, but they're about half of my palm, and for the size of this orchid, it is quite impressive. So let's get you in a little closer to the flowers, describe them a little bit. The shape of the flower absolutely reminds me of the Brassavola nodosa. Although if I think about it, it does kind of look like the aclandiae a little more, but I definitely see the influence of the nodosa or the Brassavolas in general. The petals and sepals are pretty slender, and this is a trait of the Brassavola actually, although the Brassavola is even more extreme than this. The lip on this orchid is broad, yet again another trait of the Brassavola, and the display overall is fantastic. Color-wise, yet again, it is really pretty, although the colors are not very vivid or very flashy. The sepals and petals have a buttery green to them, and they're dotted with dark purple spots. And this is a trait which I assume comes from the aclandiae, which is a dotted petaled Cattleya. The lip starts out as white, but towards the end we can see there is a really nice purpley pink color displayed in a sort of veiny type of texture. One thing that I really like about this bloom is that it is very straight. Apart from the lip extends forward, and this is a trait inherited from the aclandiae actually. Aclandiae is a beautiful Cattleya species, compact grower, compact flowers overall. The only downside to it is the lip. It is not straight down, which is a little bit more to my liking. It's just a personal preference, it doesn't mean anything. And this inherited the lip placement of the aclandiae, sadly, not of the Brassavola, but that's okay, we can overlook that. If the lip would have been displayed downwards though, the flower would appear even bigger than it is. However, overall, it is a beautiful spotted, wild-looking Brassavola and Cattleya hybrid. Now, since we have two fragrant parents, this hybrid should be fragrant as well. Well, to my surprise, it's not as fragrant as I expected it to be. It might be because it's a new orchid, it's not adjusted to my environment, I'll keep that in mind, but I was expecting this orchid to smell like the Brassavola nodosa, which has a beautiful nighttime fragrance, unmistakable. Once you smell it once, you will definitely recognize it wherever you go. However, the Hippodamia has no trace of the Brassavola fragrance to it. I'm suspecting it inherited the fragrance of the aclandiae more than anything else. So mine is fragrant at the moment, but is very mild. You can only feel the fragrance if you smell the flower. Around it, I personally don't feel anything, and the fragrance reminds nothing of the Brassavola. It is buttery and floral at the same time, don't get me wrong. It is very nice, very pleasing to the nostrils. It's not repulsive in any way. It's just that it doesn't really match with how the orchid looks like, and it has nothing to do with the Brassavola fragrance. This orchid releases fragrance early in the morning, nothing at night as far as I can see, and nothing after 11 a.m. really. So the time frame in which it is fragrant is incredibly short. At least at the moment, which is another letdown because, as it is, I do enjoy the fragrance. If this aspect will change in the future, I'm not sure. It might. Since it's a new orchid, it might just take its time to adjust. However, lucky her, she just looks pretty, so I'll overlook the fragrance aspect. As an orchid, as I was saying, it is a pretty compact grower. Yet again, it looks nothing like the Brassavola, at least in my eyes. It does resemble more the aclandiae. However, the Brassavola influence can be seen on the leaves. The aclandiae doesn't have slender and long leaves. Usually they're more compact, a little broader than this, so the influence of the Brassavola made her leaves look a little slender than the Cattleya type leaves. Also, we have here a bifoliate structure, meaning two leaves on top of each cane, And this is a trait from the aclandiae, not the Brassavola, which usually only makes one leaf at the top. The leaves are pretty fleshy, they're not flimsy at all, but nothing like the Brassavola. The roots, on the other hand, oh, they're kind of thick. Yet again, another trait from the aclandiae. As far as I know, the Brassavolas are not quite that thick root, but the aclandiae, because I do have an aclandiae hybrid, they do have thick roots. So that's a little bit of a breakdown of the genes inherited by this orchid. As far as my orchid goes, it has not been repotted yet. I see it has been potted in moss. It's obviously gonna get out of that. It has another new growth on this side. And if I know aclandiaes, I know they grow fast. On the other hand, Brassavolas, they don't grow fast. So at this point, I really don't know if this is a fast grower or not. I presume it will be. It's just a hunch. So we'll see. But if it inherited the Brassavola traits, it will grow one suitable per year. It doesn't appear to create sheaths, as you can see. It does have reminiscence of old flower spikes, and I don't see sheaths. And this is a trait from the aclandiae, but of the Brassavola as well. The Brassavola does create sheaths, but they're very tiny, nothing compared to the popular Cattleyas. So I suspect that when a pseudobulb matures, we should already see the buds forming inside the pseudobulb. We don't need to wait a few months for the buds to develop, which is good. And other than that, it is a really, really pretty orchid. I would describe it more as charming when you see it in person. It's not a wow type of thing, but when you see it, you just can't look away for whatever reason. So I do really, really love it. I didn't see this hybrid a lot, to be honest. I'm not sure if it's a novelty. I'll have to check the RHS. It might not be, but indeed, I suspect it's a little bit rare. If it's just a new hybrid, then good news, it's gonna be available more. So if you've enjoyed this orchid, do check out the name spelled down below. I'll also spell the parents' name so you can check them out. Maybe you like more one of the parents. I can totally recommend the Brassavolas, any type of Brassavola. They release a strong fragrance in the nighttime, and it's one of the most beautiful fragrances that I have ever smelled, and I'm currently gathering all sorts of Brassavola hybrids just because I really like them. The aclandiae is not a very fragrant orchid as far as I know, but it is really pretty, compact, tiny, and of course spotted. So if you're into that, check the aclandiae. So alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed this little orchid. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchids and plants videos. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye! Going back to the Kirchara, can you believe she's not a Brassavola hybrid? Absolutely looks like a Brassavola hybrid. However, do you remember it produced new roots? Well, some of them burned or actually desiccated, some of them still made it. I decided not to repot it because she is so pot bound. It's gonna be a mess trying to repot this one, but it needs to be done. Other than that, all of the orchids that I've already repotted in the new setup are loving it so far. I don't really have any more issues with the desiccation on the top, so pretty much I think I found my setup and I'm sticking with it. But of course, experiments are a totally different thing. I love doing experiments, and when it comes to inorganic, I'm all up for any experiments.